I've got the wonderful role of starting our 40 minutes of thanks for the Sutton Volunteers and all the people who've helped in the community. But yes, just a couple of other points before we start. We are recording this, so if anybody's got any concerns about it being recorded, please let us know. Okay, we will be publicly sharing it afterwards. So as I say, do contact. There's also a chat function, so we want people to be involved with it. We want you to watch this and we want you to enjoy it. So do please let us know and use the chat function. We're also going to be promoting this on social media, so please use the hashtag Thank You Sutton Volunteers. At the end of the event, we're going to raise a toast to all the volunteers, and we'd really like to see and hear from everybody. So what we're going to ask is that you transfer to gallery view, and we'll prompt you to unmute, so everyone can have a few minutes to unmute, and then we'll do a toast to all the volunteers. We've had over 1,800 people who've initially signed up to be volunteers in the first few weeks of the COVID pandemic. And you're going to hear in the next 40 minutes about all the amazing stories. They're really inspiring. It's just wonderful the work they've done, and they've provided valuable support and help to lots of individuals, to lots of different organisations when they really needed it the most. It has been quite a challenging 6 months, although without these volunteers, it would have been even harder for a lot of people. So I think we've got everybody, hopefully few. We may have a few other new people that join us, but we're going to start. We're going to show you a mixture of obviously film and some speakers. So we'll start. So first of all, we'll start with some words from the Worshipful Mayor Fyvie Sutton and the Deputy Mayoress Annie Morrell.
The Deputy Mayor and myself would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the Sutton volunteers who stepped up during the COVID-19 pandemic. We really value your commitment and support that you have shown to the most vulnerable residents in our community. There have been so many volunteers that we can't thank you individually, but please be aware we really appreciate the work that you've done in our community. So we want to both say thank you.
Hi, thank you very much to over 1,800 Sutton residents who volunteered their time the last few months. Huge thanks from me.
Thank you to all the young people that have helped other young people. Thank you.
Paddy's Fish and Chips provided 244 portions of fresh fish and chips delivered that day by volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you to all the hundreds of volunteers that turned up week after week to help pack and deliver food parcels from Westcroft Leisure Centre. Thank you.
Thank you to our 118 wonderful befriending volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you to all the volunteers that helped deliver over 400 medical supplies. Thank you.
Thank you to our amazing MAPS mentors. Thank you.
Thank you to all the Hill House volunteers that helped at the food hub, the packers, the delivery drivers. Thank you.
For the amazing PPE team for delivering every Friday PPE throughout all the GP practices in Sutton. Thank you.
Thank you to all the shoppers from the Neighbourhood Project. Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who has done amazing things to donate their time and donate all sorts of odd things, from microwaves and washing machines, and people who've helped us out with interpreting and fixing phone lines. And it's just been amazing what we have asked you to do. So from all of us, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Community of Wallington and I'm Johnny. From the whole team, a massive thank you to all of the volunteers and to everyone that's pitched in around Carshalton and Sutton over the last 6 months. As you can probably tell, that's not where I am right now, but we've got a few friendly faces to come and say thank you now.
A heartfelt thank you to all of the volunteers of Community of Wallington from Councillor Sunita Gordon.
From all of us at the Duke's Head, a big thank you to all the volunteers who helped out during lockdown. Hope you can join me for a beer soon. Cheers.
We'd like to thank all the amazing volunteers from the Community of Wallington.
So it's thank you from Councillor James.
And thank you from Councillor Lewis.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Atula. I'm the volunteer coordinator at Citizens Advice Sutton. I want to thank all our wonderful volunteers who have supported and advised clients since COVID-19 began and we went down into lockdown. Since the lockdown began, over 3,500 contacts have been made with clients, and that's been done by you, from your kitchen tables, from your dining room, balancing your laptops on your knees in your bedroom, and even from abroad. So thank you for providing this service, for helping clients to resolve their problems and issues, and also for providing a friendly year at a time when so many people were feeling anxious, isolated and vulnerable. You have all been amazing, and I want to say a heartfelt thank you for your dedication, your commitment, your enthusiasm and your energy. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm up next. I'm Nicola Upton and I'm the Chief Executive of AGK Sutton, which is an independent local charity here in Sutton. On behalf of all of us at AGK Sutton and the thousands of older people that we support, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of our volunteers, our givers, our doers, our change makers, without whom Sutton's older people wouldn't have support, comfort and vital help when they need it. I also want to recognise the incredible work of volunteers across Sutton. We're proud to be part of a community that works together, supports one another and is focused on collaboration and mutual support. We all know COVID-19's presented never before seen challenges to the people that we support and all of us who provide that support. Older people have, as we all know, been severely affected by this virus and also by the restrictions that are in place. A large proportion of shielding people were older, and our research shows that for many of those people, they're still concerned about going out into the community. For many, lockdown hasn't ended, isn't over. And without volunteers, this could have been a far more difficult time for everybody in that situation. As an independent local charity, we've been incredibly proud to co-lead Sutton's community response, working in partnership with other charities, most of whom are here today, the council, the NHS and local businesses. Our volunteers have been an essential part of this. With the support of our amazing volunteers, we've been able to continue to offer all of our services over the last several months, as well as developing new ones. 120 volunteers have provided essential work befriending and wellbeing check calls through COVID. Our befriending calls have been a lifeline to people with really limited social contact. We've been regularly supporting well over 600 isolated local people through this expansion, big expansion of our existing programme, and made well over 5,000 calls. Some of those calls have included wellbeing checks, which is a more structured way to check in with people who are vulnerable, unwell or struggling. Our skilled volunteers have many times during the summer and in recent months identified a person in need of some extra help and been able to quickly alert AGK Sutton so that this can be put in place, either by us, a partner charity, or by Sutton's Health Services. Over 50 new volunteers joined us during COVID, many of whom came through Volunteer Centre Sutton, without whom none of us could have done what we've done with volunteers over the last few months. There's been an outpouring of local support for charities in Sutton, And I say this as someone who didn't grow up here and still doesn't live here, but Sutton people really are the best. Don't tell anyone in Leicester I said that. 6 of our long-term information volunteers continue providing vital support, either through wellbeing checks or essential information provision by phone. And our Nordic Walking Group volunteers have continued to run our walking groups with reduced numbers attending, but supporting older people to get out, get exercise and have some safe social contact. We just saw Connell from the Duke's Head in Wallington on the Wallington community video. And the Duke's Head, as well as doing a huge amount very locally, have worked with us and with Sutton Community Farm as volunteers to cook and prepare freshly made meals for vulnerable older people and others in Sutton all the way through the COVID pandemic. And finally, we have one volunteer who was starting in February to set up a new coffee group and wasn't able to do that for obvious reasons, but we've taken the whole thing online and we now have a virtual Friday group every week. I'm really proud of every single one of our volunteers and what they've done. I also want to thank all of our volunteers who've not been able to continue during the pandemic due to other responsibilities, their own health challenges, or a refocus on helping within their own neighbourhood. You are still our community, our friends, and the reason we've been able to continue your amazing work during this crisis. All of our staff really miss our office volunteers and seeing our services volunteers in real life, and we look forward to the day that we can meet again in person. Finally, I want to acknowledge and thank the volunteers at all of Sutton's other charities. Their volunteers and ours, along with our staff, have frequently worked together in collaboration. And it's incredible to hear what volunteers across Sutton have done, whether that's making and delivering food, providing musical entertainment, fish and chips, admin and organisation tasks, or countless other things. And of course, Volunteer Centre Sutton have been instrumental in helping us to recruit volunteers for years, but during this pandemic, they've done more than I think is humanly possible. And I know that's been with the help of volunteers. As I've said before to Anita, I'm slightly afraid of the team at Volunteer Centre Sutton, but in a really good way. Without Sutton's volunteers, I don't think we would enjoy the sense of community and solidarity that we do in the borough. AGK Sutton volunteers, you are amazing, and you're an excellent company among Sutton's wider community of givers, doers and change makers. Thank you, Sutton's volunteers.
I'm on now after Nicola, and my name is Lucy Waters. I'm the Managing Director for the NHS in Sutton, and I'm also here to express my huge appreciation to the volunteers in Sutton for the amazing work that you have done sustaining our community through the pandemic. And not just through the pandemic. I know that you will hear today about the extraordinary numbers and things that people have done, and I love the video that was shown earlier, but I also want to talk about the work that Sutton Community Champions are continuing to do even this week, with the extraordinary way that messages were got out around services at St Helier, where I know 86,000 people were reached with messages in a really short period of time through the Sutton Parent Carer Forum, faith groups, Health Watch, housing associations, Playwise and the Sutton Slimming World, just to name a few. I couldn't possibly name everybody. So during the pandemic, the NHS was severely challenged, and we did amazing things to try and keep services going and people safe, and we couldn't have done it without you. I am really, really proud to be part of our Sutton team. Thank you, Sutton volunteers.
My name is Nadine Wyatt and I am the Senior Engagement Manager for Sutton NHS. I just wanted to take a few minutes just to say a huge thank you to all the Sutton community champions that I have been working with since the start of the pandemic. And you all know who you are, but just to name a few, there's Peter, James, Alan, Tommy, Nicola, most of the Sutton councillors that I've worked with in many of the wards. I'm just really, really appreciate all the work that you've done with us. We've had regular weekly meetings for months since the start of the pandemic, and our ward coordination teams were comprising of local councillors, neighbourhood watch members, volunteers, resident association members, and many others. They've helped to reach out to residents across the London Borough of Sutton, disseminating key health messages by using very innovative ideas. Things like leaflets were dropped up and down the high streets into shops, laminating posters, sticking them onto lampposts, leaflets left at chemists so they can be placed in prescription bags, placing posters on park notice boards, etc., etc. The enthusiasm, positivity, and energy has really been amazing. I just want to say a huge thank you on behalf of Sutton NHS.
Hi there, my name's Elliot and I'm the MP for Carshalton and Wallington, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you to the volunteers in Sutton who have stepped up to do amazing things to help others during this pandemic, whether you've been delivering PPE, food or medical supplies, or however you have been helping others. We are all so grateful. I've met many of you whilst I've been out delivering myself, and I'm so blown away by the way that Sutton has come together to respond to this pandemic. So a massive thank you from me.
Hi Natalie, it's Callie on behalf of everyone in the volunteering team and everybody at the Charity for Civil Servants. We really wish we could be with you physically right now, to surround you with our love and gratitude for everything you've done for us over the last few months. Obviously, that's not quite possible at the minute, so we thought we'd just take some time today just to show you how awesome we really think you are, how thankful we are for everything that you've done, your ongoing enthusiasm, your amazing motivation, your undying optimism has just been an absolute pillar of support to the team and to the charity over the last sort of 4 or 5 months. So we just wanted to say a really big thank you, to say that we think you're absolutely wonderful. We can't wait to keep working with you. Even more so, we can't wait to be with you physically in person to give you a great big hug. And yeah, just thank you so much, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.
My name's Louisa. I've been doing it for 4 or so months, maybe 5 months. But I've been on the books for a while, and I've been coming to Hill House, picking up the boxes, helping where I can to fill them as well if the odd item needs filling, and delivering to the vulnerable that need them.
My name is John Benjamin. I'm a volunteer here through Volunteer Centre Sutton, and I've been here on and off probably a couple of months or sort of throughout lockdown.
So this is one of today's deliveries, and this is for a single person. Actually, they need dairy-free produce, so they've got a carton of soya milk and also some dairy-free custard.
My name is Stephen Phillips. I'm a volunteer driver. I've been doing this for a number of weeks now, and basically what I do is I come here, I pick up all the food parcels and the packages, and I then deliver them to households where they're really needed.
And what sort of situations do you find that people are in that you're delivering to?
It could be because they're disabled, it could be because they're elderly, or it could be because they're self-isolating, but they're basically people who can't get out to do their own shopping. Obviously, like everybody, they need food, and this is a great way of getting it to them.
I'm Sally, and I'm a volunteer here. I started when the food hub first started the first week back at Westcroft, And so we worked there for quite a few weeks, which was very intense, packing lots and lots of boxes. And then everything came here, and we've been packing boxes here and organising the food, doing stock checks and gradually moving things around so that it's ready for the next stage.
Hi, I'm Claire. Sally and I are good friends, and we've been doing this together since March.
Yeah, when it first,
started again at Westcroft. I've done a little bit of driving as well, so we spent most of our Saturdays at Westcroft, and now it's moved to the week. We've been doing Tuesday mornings here. It's an opportunity for us to have a chat while doing some good for the community, hopefully.
It's Rachel McLeod here, and I have the privilege of leading the team down at Sutton Carers Centre, another one of the independent charities locally. And I'm really just quite overwhelmed at the moment because I just now see that we're all part of this great big huge team here in Sutton. We might work with different charities, but we're all working together in this small but mighty, weird but wonderful borough that we call Sutton. I want to do a quick shout out to two of my board members who are people with both caring experience, but also volunteer to help run our charity. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Andy. We've got a couple of members of staff, Kelly and Mandy, who, even though they work for us, have volunteered their time outside of their day, working often at weekends and evenings, doing emotional support, delivering food and so on. And we have one of our favorite volunteers here with us today too, Freddie, who's just a community member wanting to make a difference, who was was driving people around and making food deliveries in her red convertible. So if you ever see Freddie about town in Sutton, do give her a big wave. And one of our new members of staff, I think Kiara, you're out there somewhere. You're now about to learn exactly why Sutton is such a great place to work and also to volunteer. Just want to make a quick note as well that we support unpaid carers. That means family members who gave up so much, and they may be children looking after their adults, their parents. They might be older people looking after their wife. They could be you looking after your brother or sister because they may have an illness or a disability. Carers have given up so much, and I want to note the Sutton Parent Carers Forum in particular, which is made up of these unpaid carers, sometimes in very, very difficult circumstances and shielding themselves, but they also gave so much to our community over this period of time. I just want to end by saying that there's going to be a little clip that follows me. We didn't do the kind of clip saying thank you to everyone. We decided to let one of our volunteers speak for herself. And all I can say is this was her idea, her choice, but gives you an idea of exactly how Sutton Carers Centre rocks and rolls when the going gets tough. It's going to be a tough winter, people. We're celebrating, but we also know that it's still going to be very difficult. And Vicky is one of our volunteers who always lifts our spirit. So over to Vicky.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicky from Sutton Carers Centre. Excuse me while I just do my workout. I just wanted to say hi to everybody. I helped volunteer during COVID because my mum was really struggling and so was my dad. They were both self-isolating and I wanted to help the community. So me and my husband, we delivered about 100 meals. Anyway, you all stay safe. See you later.
Are you lifting yourself?
I'm just going to come off mute and say good thing we have people like Naomi, one of our volunteer counselors, who can support us during this time, because this is exactly how we sometimes go slightly off the rails.
I think I'm up next. I am. I was told not to watch that video because you wanted a reaction. I can barely speak. So, and I deliberately didn't watch it so that you would get a reaction. Hi, I can't match that. So I'm Judith Armstrong. I'm the manager of Home Start Sutton, and like the others said, we're a small local voluntary organisation supporting families with young children. Huge shout out to all our fabulous volunteers, staff and trustees. I think I've got most of the staff team on the call. I saw Bev, Gail and Kim, and I definitely saw Diana, and I'm sure there are other volunteers. Please stick your names in the chat if you're here so I can say hi. And don't forget, messages and thoughts can be shared in the chat. As many of you know who know Home Start, you know that volunteers are the very heart of the support that we offer families in what we now call normal times. And they pull out the stops to help, dedicating their time and compassion to be alongside families as they face some of life's toughest challenges. But it's been quite a different 6 months. And we could not have moved so quickly in adapting the support. We normally go into family homes, and we couldn't have adapted to how we support families and how we respond to new families and developing new services without the commitment and flexibility of all our volunteers, including the office volunteers, advocates and trustees. They've all been there over Zoom, in the park, on doorsteps, in gardens, shopping, making up care packages, collecting donations, and of course helping me with my nappy queen duties. You're all stars. I just, you know, I could repeat everything that Nicola and Rachel said. We're also hugely grateful, as the others have said, to all our voluntary sector partners who pulled out all the stops over the last 6 months, and to the local community who really came through with food, toys, clothes, furniture, and of course nappies. And the community champions, what they can't source probably isn't worth having. Carshalton Beach's Residents Association Good Neighbours, who collected, I couldn't even say how much food they collected for us. New Mill House Quarter residents, St Oswald's Church, Barrow Hedges, Church of the Good Shepherd, Carshalton Lavender Fields, and the lovely Molly Latter and Sylvia Mellom, who are all, you know, who have us on their thoughts always, and countless other individuals who, as they were going through their own struggles, thought of us and reached out and helped. I've not known a time since I've been working at Home Start in the last 20 years quite like it, and lived in the borough for 30 years. And like so many people who have said here, I just want to really reinforce that Sutton's a very special place to live and work. Thank you, Sutton Volunteers.
Hi, my name is Mark Thomas and I'm from Sutton Community Works. We run a number of projects across the London Borough of Sutton, and our projects range from food bank to winter shelter, street pastors, school pastors. We run job clubs, and none of those projects would work without volunteers. We have over 300 volunteers in all our projects. COVID-19 has obviously caused all of us lots of issues, challenges, but also opportunities. Since June, we've been back out on the streets with street pastors, going out in the afternoons and the evenings, keeping Sutton safe, being a visible presence, being a listening ear, caring and helping for people. Really thankful for the volunteers that are doing that. And they range in the ages. And Food Bank has kept going throughout the whole of COVID-19. So we've continued to see clients that come to 4 sessions a week. We've had numerous volunteers involved, whether in the storage centres, teams there dealing with 20 tonnes of food that's come in and gone out. We've had teams transporting the food to our centres where we give out the food. We have volunteers there who are actually meeting and greeting the clients and listening to them and giving them food and helping them and signposting them. And we've also had people doing deliveries as well. And on top of that, we've had volunteers going to supermarkets to collect food. So really, without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to operate. So we're really thankful for the way that volunteers have continued to volunteer, but also we've had new volunteers who've been on furlough or working from home, who've actually stepped up and given up their time. So during this week of remembering our volunteers, I want to say a big thank you.
Hi, meet Dolly, meet Winnie. They're the latest MAP team members. They've come today to say a huge thank you to all our wonderful volunteers. Our mentors stepped up this year and went from face-to-face meetings to working virtually, with our young people saying that they felt just as supported, and that was a huge ask. So on behalf of the MAPS team, we just want to say thank you. We really do appreciate you. We worked with more children this year than we did last year, which is a massive achievement. We've got over 70 people who have signed up to say that they want to become MAPS mentors, which is amazing because sadly, due to COVID, we're getting asked more and more for our service. So we'll be in touch with you guys soon. Also this year, which is really exciting, we've had some leaving care children who have signed up and are about to be trained to become peer mentors for looked after children, which is a really good new programme to support our young care leavers. So on behalf of all the MAPS team, thank you to all of you, because without you we couldn't have our project. So massive thank you. So from Dolly and from Winnie and from the MAPS team, it's a huge thank you.
Thank you to our amazing volunteers, from visiting A&E on a Saturday night to stuffing thousands of envelopes over the last few years. Everything you do makes all of our work possible. Thanks.
Hi, I'd also really love to say a massive thank you to our lovely volunteers for all of your hard work and commitment over these really challenging few months. You've really helped us by gathering patient feedback and helping to review surveys for our local GPs and hospital. Thank you, thank you, thank you from all of us at Health Watch Sutton.
Here at Sutton Befrienders, we cannot say how grateful we all are for the dedication, compassion and kindness of our 118 wonderful befriending volunteers who since lockdown have made over 2,000 phone calls or garden visits to some of Sutton's most lonely and isolated residents. Over the years, we've seen loneliness eased and lives changed, all through the simple power of human connection.
I think walking in the park is brilliant. It's great for you. You expect to be outdoors. For this particular group, it's very low level and it's more of a social walk. People have become friends and we've noticed that they've supported each other through things over the years.
It's free for everybody to come to, and regardless of the weather, there's always something you can see, whether it's the changing of the colour of the trees, the flowers coming up, the daffodils.
Without your support, we could not have provided friendship, hope and a sense of community to over 120 individuals, some of whom have no family or friends and were shielded at home on their own with only the TV or radio for company. As well as phoning, volunteers also have done shopping for their befriendees, baked them cakes, picked up prescriptions, and now they are starting to do garden or doorstop visits where possible.
As well as our one-to-one befriending, we have been able to resume our popular social walking groups. We have 7 amazing volunteer walk leaders who turn up no matter what the weather to support over 40 individuals to exercise and friendship on our walks each week. On behalf of the people who walk, our befriendees and all of us here at Sutton Befrienders, we would like to thank you for your care and kindness. As the COVID situation changes, we will continue to build on your boundless support to make sure no one is left behind this winter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'd like now to introduce Councillor Ruth Dombey, the Sutton Council leader.
Thank you, Anita, and thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. I had an emergency 4 o'clock meeting to talk about the ongoing situation with COVID. And as I expect you all know, sadly, all across London, our numbers are going up. So it was not a particularly uplifting meeting. So I have to be honest with you, coming and joining you here now is just making me feel so much better, because it is really inspiring to hear what everyone has been doing. I think the response from Sutton has been absolutely extraordinary. I saw a comment from Sheila in the chat. She says, we're all great together. And I think that's absolutely right. And in the Befriending film, they talked about the power of human connection. Certainly I know, yes, we can use all this virtual technology to talk to each other, but that human contact, that being together, I know we miss it all so much. And one of the most wonderful things about volunteering is that you're able to show people that there is someone there who cares. So on behalf of everyone at Sutton Council, I would like to add my thank you to the very long list that you've heard already at this event. I was absolutely overwhelmed when I heard how many volunteers have been helping us through this challenging time, which sadly isn't over. We are approaching the winter and we know that things will get difficult, probably more difficult before they get better. I always knew that Sutton was a very special place, and I've heard several of you saying just that, but I think the crisis has confirmed this even more. We have so many wonderful people who live and work here and who really care about our community, and who very quietly, often without making a fuss, get on with it and look out for their neighbours, their friends, the most vulnerable people living in our community, are helping out where they can, when they can, and making such a difference. Without your help and support, thousands and thousands of residents would have struggled over the past few months and would be struggling as we go into the winter. And you've made what would have been a very difficult and quite a scary time for them much more bearable. Your response has been amazing. You are all amazing. And we've seen in the films and the conversations that we've heard so far just how many people have got involved. So on behalf of our most vulnerable residents, on the people who need the most help and support, I do want to say thank you most sincerely to all of you. I'm sure you'll agree that in our own lives, we sometimes take food, medicines, shopping for granted. It's just something we do and we don't really think about it. But without those of you delivering these essential items every single day, many people would have had to go without even the most basic of necessities. And I gather that sometimes those basic necessities included fresh fish and chips, and I'm sure that went down a treat. We've demonstrated our fantastic partnership working with all of our partners. And I think that was shown more than anywhere with the setting up of our community food hub, organised by the council, the public, our voluntary sector partners. It was such a success, and the numbers speak for themselves. We recently had a staff awards ceremony for council staff because we wanted to give special recognition to those members of staff who helped set up the community hub. And in fact, they received a special recognition award from us for all their hard work. But straight away, they acknowledged without hesitation that without all the cooperation, dedication and practical support of all the volunteers involved, the Sutton Hub would not have been such a success. Because it wasn't just food, it was also medicines, essential shopping that we were delivering to residents, and boxes were transported out of Westcroft on a daily basis. Up until recently, those boxes have still been going out from Hill House, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who helped and supported the community hub both at Westcroft and Hill House. But it isn't just about the practical stuff. It isn't just about the medicine and the essential items and the food. It's also about that human contact. And I know that lots of volunteers made telephone calls, are still making those calls to offer financial advice and support. And from what I've been told, some of those calls quickly turned into a general catch-up, a chat, especially for people who are living alone, who are really missing that human contact and having to shield. And sadly, are quite lonely and have little contact with anyone else. I know the fact that you were there, a human voice down the end of the phone, being a listening ear, it made a real difference. And I want to give a special big thank you to each and every one of the 140 fantastic Sutton Cultural Services volunteers who work in Sutton libraries and our heritage venues. Thank you for all your hard work to keep these buildings safe and secure, but also for the work that you did, for example, in the reception of the museum to provide IT support for people who need it and didn't have that sort of kit, those skills to be able to do so at home. I also heard the rhyme time sessions were very popular. And I've been told that the number of people who volunteer in Sutton has gone up significantly since the beginning of the year. I think we all know that volunteering is worthwhile and so important. It's good to know that so many other people are now understanding the importance, not just for the community, but also for themselves. And we all know that even a few hours a month makes a difference to a person's life. The council is really proud to be partnering with Community Action Sutton, Sutton Housing Partnership, the Volunteer Centre Sutton, to celebrate and commemorate your amazing efforts, the efforts achieved by so many people in our community. You went the extra mile across the borough over the last few months, and we were able to recognise that at our 2020 Community Awards. So we are going to be recognising it. Sorry, I said as if it happened. It hasn't happened yet. We are going to be recognising you at the 2020 Community Awards. So we want you to send in your nominations as soon as possible. We want to give people a sense of recognition that we really appreciate how hard you're working. The deadline to submit the nominations is Sunday the 1st of November. Please put out the word and let everyone know. It's really important that we hear from you and that we're able to recognise the extraordinary hard work and commitment from so many people from across the borough. More information will be going out this week about the awards, with information about how you can submit the nominations. And there are so many ceremonies this year that sadly can't take place. So that awards ceremony will be taking place virtually because, like many other things, we can't hold it in person. It's a shame, but it's a real opportunity to celebrate the extraordinary work that all our volunteers are doing here in Sutton. And I'm really looking forward to being there with you all. Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. You are making a difference and we are hugely grateful. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I've been patiently listening to all the wonderful speakers and all the volunteers. It's been really, really impressive. I'm completely overwhelmed. And I'd like to give my heartfelt thanks to all the volunteers, to everybody connected with the volunteer groups. It's just been so fantastic to listen. And what are volunteers? Volunteers are people with special qualities. What are those qualities? Those qualities are being kind, being considerate, giving their energy, their time, their thought, their wealth. They sacrifice everything selflessly. They don't expect anything in return. So these are really, really, truly, genuinely wonderful human beings. They're not ordinary people. And they've made a huge impact, a huge positive impact during this COVID period, but not just during COVID. It's been going on for the last, certainly for the last 20 years I've witnessed in Sutton, and many more years. So they're very, very fantastic people. The other thing I'd like to say is that I think we're very fortunate in Sutton. I classify it as that we've got the perfect storm in Sutton. All the stakeholders are truly passionate about volunteering and the benefits it brings to the community. Right from the council leader, who we've just heard, to the local MPs, the mayor, all the charity groups, all the wonderful charity groups and that we've just heard, all the volunteers and the general public. We really have everybody singing from the same hymn sheet, and we are really truly blessed in Sutton that we've got everyone facing in the same direction and the same values. And I think that volunteering is a truly distinguishing mark for Sutton compared to all other areas. I haven't seen an area like this before, and I believe that Sutton can be a beacon of light and hope for the many other areas, not just in London like Croydon, Richmond and so forth, Kingston, but for up and down the country, because I truly think we have something very special here. And I'm so glad that it's being captured on this video and everyone's sort of input being gathered here. And hopefully it will inspire other people as well, and hopefully bring relief to other people throughout the nation. So thank you very much. I'm very, very grateful to you. Thank you very much indeed. Over to Anita.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Well, hopefully you've all enjoyed the films and the words, and a huge thank you to all the speakers today. But most of all, thank you also to all the volunteers and all the people who've supported this event, to Jo, our marketing lady, who's been amazing. I've certainly enjoyed myself, and I hope you have too. Over the next few weeks, we will be creating a special thank you tree. This will be a tree which has all the volunteer names on it. We will provide details on how you can get involved. So we really want all the names of all the different people, all the volunteers who've supported over the last few months. And we'll carry that on, because this is a piece of work that, as Deepak mentioned, volunteers have been in Sutton for many, many years. However, as a lot of the other speakers have also mentioned, sadly, COVID hasn't gone away. And it's really, really important that we obviously carry on the hard work that everybody's done, which I know everybody will do. So a huge thank you. I think also on reflection, because it's quite amazing listening to everybody's sort of messages today. It's just absolutely fabulous. But also I think it's about the volunteers and all the people that the local neighbours, the people that are helping in the local streets, as we've mentioned, the community champions. We've obviously got a huge mixture of volunteers that have been fantastic at Volunteer Centre Sutton, but there's lots of other thousands of volunteers that have been supporting people in Sutton. So if I can just sort of say a huge thank you to everybody. We will be doing some recruiting as well. That carries on because, as I say, unfortunately, we want to carry on this amazing work that we've sort of been doing the last few months. So I'm not sure whether anybody wants to say anything more, because what we'll do then is go into our toast. So we're going to raise a toast to thank all the Sutton volunteers. I want to mention one other person, which I'm not sure whether she's on the line or not. Is Alison on the line? I'm not sure. Okay, I just wanted to say, okay, well, I know if she could have been, she would have been. So I want to thank Alison from Community Action Sutton, who was working 7 days a week, like a lot of people were, but also volunteered a lot of her time as well, has been amazing the last few months. But let's get ready to thank all the Sutton volunteers. Can I ask that you all unmute and transfer to gallery view if you can? Give you a few seconds to do this, because what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and do a big thank you to all the Sutton volunteers after 3. So I'll give you a few seconds to everybody. So if you swap over your screen to gallery view, we know we're not going to be able to get everybody in, and to be honest, I think we've had over 140 people.
Oh, everyone's here. I can only see 9 of them.
I am not muted.
Wow, so can you see everybody? I can only see probably about 30 people, and there's pages and pages, so it's absolutely amazing the people who have joined us.
Thank you. Hi, Ryan.
Everybody.
Hi. Thank you, everybody.
Valerie.
Hi, Kim. Gail's on another page.
Millie.
Yes. Diana. Hi, everybody. And I saw Michelle. Let's Gail. Hi, Gail.
Thank
you, all the volunteers.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Chris.
Andy.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Kelly.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. You've all done amazing jobs.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Absolutely superb.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Right.
All right, thanks, Anita.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Anita.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.